Hey everybody, welcome. Sorry, I'm a little teeny bit late here getting started. I had another meeting that ran a little late, so let me get things set up here. I'm gonna just slideshow this up. I'm gonna share my screen. So today we are going to talk about listing promotion templates that you can do in KV Core. So in KV Core, we're going to start talking about using our advanced editor. And we have some dynamic content in there that lets you choose a listing and like drop a bunch of stuff in pretty easily. And if you get that template built, then what you can do is you can just keep cloning it down. And every time you have a listing or you're in, and I know you might say, well, Heather, I don't have very many listings. It's okay. You might be doing an open house for somebody else and you want to promote it within your database. You also might want to just send out like, hey, this is the property of the week, because you saw something when you were out showing homes that really caught your eye and you wanted to send it out and be, send good information out to the people in your database. So it's not just for if you've got a listing, mostly, but not all. And so you really want to think about those situations when making these templates. So I'm going to do my spiel really quick before we get started. And that is, if you are watching this live, wonderful. And we're really happy that you're here. If you're not, if you're watching this later on YouTube and you want to come watch this live so that you can ask live questions. And at the end, we open it up for any general questions that you might have. Scan the QR code and register for some of our upcoming sessions in our YouTube channel. We post every Friday what the topics are going to be for the following week. So not YouTube, I'm sorry, on our Facebook page, we post. And then on our YouTube channel, these are all recorded and there for you if you want to watch them later. We do these Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern, all the times in between. Okay, spiel done. Let's pull some stuff up here. Hang on. Stop my share, get into KV Core. Okay. So let's reshare my screen here again. Okay, so we're going to start with the advanced editor in your marketing. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to marketing. You're going to go to your smart campaigns. And you're going to go to your templates. I'm a company admin. If you are an agent, this won't matter to you, but if you are a team leader or a company admin or office admin or whatever, you want to make sure you're making your template in the correct scope. So I'm going to do that. It's mine, and you're going to go to your templates and you can add a template. Now, if you are a team leader and you want to make this template for your whole team to have, go for it. And it will be available to everybody on your team or your company or whatever. So we're going to click add template. We're going to choose our email template. And again, you want to make sure your scope is correct. And you are going to click right here, this advanced editor email. And if you're not familiar with using advanced editor, I'm going to drop this in the chat. Let me find it here. We did an entire success meetup. Let's see. There it is. Put that in the chat. It's a YouTube video, a whole meetup on using the advanced editor, all the things it can do. If you've ever used MailChimp or Constant Contact or something like that, it's very, very similar. What happened here? So yeah, so you'll definitely want to watch that video if you, because you know what, I did it again every single time. There we go. Sorry, I did it to myself instead of all of you. But there you go. All righty, so we're in the advanced editor. And in here, we have a little guy called dynamic content. And I'm going to pull this over. This dynamic content, once you pull it over, you will notice that right here, you can add an MLS ID number here. And if you do that, then, and if I click in here, all of these things like the view listing button, schedule a showing, triple listing, office, well, not office logo, but main listing image, those kinds of things will pull from that listing automatically for you. So I'm going to go actually into another side of kvCORE and just get a listing MLS ID. Shoot. I don't have any because I'm not in the right spot, but let's go here and find one. Oh, yeah, one out of San Diego. So let's say I want to use this house. It's the MLS ID. Okay. Let's do that. So let's go back to here. So if you put the MLS ID in here, it's going to automatically pull from that MLS ID. When you're naming your templates, I highly recommend that you put either your initials or your team name or something at the very beginning of your template name, because when you're looking for this later and you don't remember what the heck you named it, but you know that all the templates you've ever made have your initials at the beginning, you can always start your search with your initials or your team name, and you will easily find it instead of being like, what the heck did I name that thing? So I'm going to name this my just listed template. And then your subject line could be, just listed. And then it can change when you clone it. You can change whatever it could be. Let's find this house. This house is, it's even a house. I don't even know. Oh, it's $44 million. That's exciting. It's a 10-bedroom, whatever, 10 bedrooms with ocean views. Just listen, 10 bedrooms with ocean views, whatever you want to say, right? And you want to spell things right so people don't think you're crazy. Okay, so I'm going to leave this here, but really what we're going to want to do is make a template, right? So we want to get all our stuff in here so that when we do this again for another listing, it's just a matter of changing out this number and sending it out. So I'm going to put rows in here. I'm actually going to take this rows. I'm going to pull this up here. And I'm going to put an image on this side. I'm going to leave this side empty. And I'm going to put my logo in here. So you want to think about everything that you do. Oh, I have it in here already. Yay. Has your branding on it, right? So I'm going to put this logo in here. I might actually, that's kind of large. One tricky way to take it down is to do a 3-banger. Put this here. Take this out. Delete it. Now it's just kind of up in the corner here. This is just going to be white space, right? And then I'm just going to go back to my dynamic content. I think I might want to put in the main listing image. So this is just going to pull that image in right away. And then you could do you can do like a row. For instance, you can do a triple listing that has like the first 3, I think, that pulls in. But I'm going to put in a view listing button. So I actually have to pull this content over one more time. So you could do schedule a showing button. You could do view the listing button. That will take them to the listing on your kvCORE site. Then you might want to put some other buttons in there. So I'm going to split that row again. And I'm going to add some buttons here. And I'm going to say, chat with me. And I'm going to say, you could say something like, schedule and appointments. Or you could say, am I creating a flyer? No, I'm not creating a flyer. I'm creating an email. But it will kind of look like a flyer inside of the email. But the nice thing about schedule points, you could even say schedule flyers consults. The reason that you want to do it this way, and I know people are going to say, it's like, well, what if I just drop, I make a pretty flyer and I just drop the whole picture into an email. And he's asked another question, can we use it as a flyer? No, you can't print this off as a flyer, if that makes sense. But the reason you're doing it this way is because if you put everything on one flyer and then stick the whole flyer in there, what's going to happen is that A, you can't put buttons on it, but B, if you put this flyer in and then someone looks at it on their phone, it's going to be tiny. But if someone looks at this on their phone, like it's going to stack everything up. So if you have 3 things across, or if you have like these buttons here, like it would put one underneath the other so that they're not little. You put a bunch of stuff in. So it makes it dynamic for whatever screen they're looking at, which is why you definitely want to build it this way instead of just putting one big picture in. That's just going to, the picture is going to be bigger or smaller depending on what you're looking at, if that makes sense. Interactive, yes. So like this is interactive. So this will put a button in automatically that will go straight to the listing. But these buttons, you can put in other things. So for instance, chat with me. If you have a Facebook business page, I feel like I made one for this. I did. There it is. So whatever your username is, no, I'll do that for it. And actually, this one doesn't have one, does it? Oh, let's try something else. Let's do oh, there. Not there. We will use this is my real estate agent. So this is anytime you have whatever your handle is. So this is your handle when you go to your page. Your chat button is m.me/ your handle. So if I put in m.me/ the handle. Oopsies, I messed that up. I put 2 slashes, but it might actually work anyway. Yeah, it's going to take me to the chat on Facebook Messenger for that page. So if you do m.me/ the handle, then when they click here, it'll pop open their Facebook Messenger and you can start talking. They can start talking to you on Facebook Messenger anytime you want. It's a great call to action button to put into pretty much all your emails. Scheduling a buyer's consult, maybe you have a Calendly link or some other kind of scheduling software. And you can put in your Calendly link for you know, a certain type of meeting. You could put that in here. Other calls to action that you can do, things like, you know, get your home value. You know, you could put in a row. You could say, need to sell before you buy. You can make it as big as you like. Well, not the whole thing big. Let's do 50. That's too big. Let's do 30. And let's center it. Need to sell before you buy. Content button. Get your home value. Guys, as you know, I can spell, but I cannot type it. Okay. So let's go. You go to your sell page on kvCore. And or you can make a sell squeeze page on kvCore and stick it right here. And now maybe you want to put in like a nice little footer. So I'm going to browse again. I'm going to upload. I just did one actually. Now you can just add your signature at the end if you want to as well. That's a possibility too. So you could do that. But the other thing you can put in, and I highly recommend, is your social. So this does not pull from your website. You've got to go in and put these in here. If you don't put these in, they will be empty and they won't work. So go ahead and put your Facebook link in, your Twitter link in, like whatever link you want. You can add a bunch of other ones. There's tons of different icons to put in. You can do that as well, if that makes sense. So now you have it. So now you've got a nice just listed feed, just price, just reduced, just sold, whatever it is. Just know that if your MLS does not display sold information, some MLSs don't, this MLS ID thing will not work for just sold. So, and then you're done and you would just add your template here. And then you have it to go. So then if I wanted to, I hope I put this in the right place, we'll see. So I have 2 accounts and man, sometimes it's in the wrong places. You could just, I'll send it to myself so you can see what it looks like. Now, always send it to yourself before you send it out to everyone else, right? So here it is. Oh, it's right there. Good. Just listed template. And you want to actually put the MLS ID in there again when you're sending it. Where we go. Make sure that's right, and then just make sure everything's correct, give it the eye test and send it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my email and see if I can find it so I can show you what it looks like. Give me just a second. Here it is. Yeah. So there's my logo, there's the picture, view the listing, chat with me, all that stuff. done, and already done. So all you have to do, make it once, and you just change out the MLS number every time you have a just listed or just reduced, or I'm having an open house, or whatever it is you want to do, all done there. Should be a buyer's consult, not an buyer's consult. My bad. But anyway, that's how you do it. It's pretty simple. Does anybody have any questions about what I did here? Anybody? Nobody. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything KV correlated at all in your, in this, anything? Can you click on the link? Sure. So this isn't going to work because I didn't actually put a one in there, but if I do view listing, it should take me to my listing on my KV Core site right there. If I do, where am I at? Chat with me, it should pop open the messenger for my Facebook Messenger, right? Get your home value should send me to my sell page right there, and whatever. There is an option to preview it, however. Let me go back. If you do a preview button, you can click here for preview. Unless they changed it. Yeah, it does not preview what it looks like pulling in the dynamic content. That's why I always say send it to yourself first to make sure it works. Okay, is there a class on how to set up your sell page in KV Core? There is no setting up of the sell page, it just is. So like your sell page on KV Core, it always looks like this. You put in the address, they hit next, they get their home value, they can get the full report by putting in their contact information. There really is no setting up of it, really. You can make a squeeze page, but all that does is that's more for posting to social media, because it'll say, oh, the average price in such and such, whatever area you pick is this, find out what your home is worth, but it still takes you to this page. It'll just say, see what your, if I did a squeeze page for San Diego, it would say, see what your San Diego home is worth, but you can't really mess with this page at all. Okay. Can it be sent to more than one recipient? Yes. Obviously I just sent it to myself because I wanted to make sure it worked. Sure, yes. If you were going to send it out to everybody in your database, you would go to marketing, all marketing, schedule a mass email, schedule your email. Now you can send it to whoever you want to. You can send it to a filter that you had already done, like your email blast filter. You could send it to contacts with a certain status. If you click all the statuses, it's just going to send it to everybody in your database, certain hashtag or whatever. And then you just click your template again. So here it is. And then you would pick a date. So I'm going to send it today. I would pick a time. I'm going to send it at 6 o'clock. Now, a couple of things when you're sending this out. First of all, this is always Eastern, doesn't matter where you are. So make the connection in your head, like if you're on the West Coast or whatever. But also, if you're sending this out to 10,000 people, it's not going to go at 6 p.m. The first batch will go at 6 p.m. But we send our emails in batches, because if we send an email to 10,000 people all at once, it'd be like, whoa, that's a spam email. And so we send them in smaller batches to avoid them going into the spam inbox. So if you're sending it 10,000 people at 6 o'clock, it might take several hours before all 10,000 people get your email. So just think about that, like, especially if you're doing an open house, like open house at 1 o'clock and you're sending it out at noon to 10,000 people, half of them are going to get it after the open house is over. So make sure you're giving yourself time for that. So it's really important. Where do I find that to input it into my email template? I'm assuming, Lee, you're talking about your sell page. Where do we find it to put in there? And basically you just, yes, I'm just going to X out of here because I don't want to schedule this to go out to everybody. You're just going to go to your website, which is my website is. This is my website, my KV Core site, and just click on your cell tab. And that's right there. It's already set up for you, already done. Put that in there. If you want to make a squeeze page for it instead, you would go to Build Squeeze, Seller Squeeze. And what this does is, if someone signs up this way, it'll attach things to it. So if you said the source was listing blast, and the hashtag is going to be, 10-bedroom house, or whatever the address of the house is, or whatever you want the hashtag to attach to them is. And then your location is San Diego, because that's where we did. And you generate that link. That's just you could put this link in instead. Now, obviously, if you're doing a template, you might not want to do this because you'd have to make a different link depending on where the house was every time. But if you do that link, it looks like this. See, I always put San Diego in there instead. And if I signed up with this, it would attach that. It would say the source of my source was listing blast, and it would say my hashtag was what 10-bedroom home or whatever I put in there. So you'd like kind of know where that valuation came from if you want to make that trackable for yourself. Okay, I've got some questions in the Q&A. Can you preview it before you send it out? I think I already answered that. You can preview it, but it does not show the dynamic content. So you want to send yourself a message. Can send me more than one recipient. Yes, we did that. Okay, so hang on. Let me just clear these out. Not relevant to this webinar, but if you have time, I have tried to go in and change a few things on my profile and my website, but can't. It won't let me edit it. What can I do? Penny wants to know this. Penny, I'm going to allow you to talk. Where's Penny at? Penny. Hi, Penny. If you want to unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm going to go to let's check you out. Let's go to, what email, or I see you don't want to play your email out on live. I'll look you up. Hang on. Penny. Oh, your BHHS. I see.
What does that mean?
Well, what you're saying, I'm not going to pull this over onto the screen because you don't want all of your information out there. Your BHHS, and because your BHHS, and this also goes for RE/MAX people, and it depends on, like, if you're with a larger brokerage that is using that, has a contract with KV Core, they all have different rules as far as where all the information comes from. So BHHS, if it's grayed out, same thing with RE/MAX and a few other ones. If it's grayed out, then it's pulling in from BHHS. So like, I don't know what BHHS is. I know RE/MAX, it's called Max Center. I can't remember what BHHS is called, but like basically whatever your home base is for BHHS is where you're going to change that information. And then that information will pull in here automatically, but they wanted control over it. So we can't change it on our site. That's why it's grayed out. Like if you have just a regular KV Core site that's not like one of these special ones, you'd be able to change it yourself. It wouldn't be grayed out. But if you're not, which you are not, you would you'd have to do it on the BHHS side. Does that make sense, Penny?
It does. I'm just wondering though, so I would just contact somebody at my brokerage or,
Yes, you would contact somebody at your brokerage. I'm sure like your company has a place where you set up your company profile. That's where it's pulling in from. And so you need to change it in your company profile with BHHS, and then it will reflect here.
okay. All right, I will do that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, anybody else have any questions about anything? Come on, guys. You must be like, I need to do this, or I want to know how to do that. I'm happy to answer anything. Okay. All right. Well, I can start eating lunch early if I have to, but I'm happy to answer anything if anybody comes up with anything. No? All right, cool. Well, I appreciate everybody coming on today. I hope that everybody gets their templates set up so that they have them for the future. And like I said, doesn't have to be your own listing if you're doing an open house or, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you guys actually. That question about sending it to more than a few people. If you go to your smart CRM, just FYI on this guy. Well, all contacts. Oh, hang on. I'm in two different KV cores and that's a problem. Let's try this again. Now I'm in Penny's KV core. Give me a second, guys. It's mad at me. So there we go. If you go to your smart CRM and you think about, go to your filters and you go down here to property interest, this is another great way that you can find buyers that match. So let's say that you can put your MLS ID in here and it will filter down to all the buyers that have a listing alert set up that would normally include that MLS ID that would match it. And then you could send it out to just those people if you don't want to send it to your whole entire database. Or you could do a price range, like this is a $44 million home. I'm just gonna, anybody looking over a certain amount, that's the only people I'm gonna send it to. Locations, beds, baths. So you can do a quick search for people who would be actually interested in seeing this house instead of just blasting it to everybody in your database. And then if you make that filter and save it, so let's do that again. I doubt we'll have anybody in here. We'll see what happens because this isn't really a real database, but and you apply that filter, it's going to find everybody. Oh, there's a bunch of them actually, 80. So if you apply that filter and then you save it and you might say, you might call this filter, you know, country, what was the name of it? Country Club Drive. And save it. Then when you go over to your smart CRM, your marketing, and send your mass email, you can choose that filter and only send it to those people. So that's another thing I wanted to show you guys about finding the right people to send this to. Okay. How can I text this to someone who does not have an email address? You cannot text the email to someone that doesn't have an email address. You could text the listing to someone who, but not with all the pretty stuff in it, you know, and because you don't really want to be texting too much media in a text, only because it's kind of sometimes seen as spam by them. But if you wanted to text just the listing out, you could do that. So you could go to your your build squeeze page, do a single property squeeze and put your listing in. Results. Oh, I'm not in the right account. I don't think. On the wrong account again. I'm in too many accounts, but anyway, you would put the listing in, you'd say what your source is, you could put some hashtags in, and obviously you don't want them to have to register because like they're already registered in your thing. So I would click never and give them that link. And then you could take that link and you can go to your CRM. You could go to that filter. No, it was the save filter, Country Club Drive. And you could mass text all those people. You could also put the this in here. Well, actually, this is kind of fun. It will put a picture of the house in there, and you could also send a link to the house and be like, hey, I think you'd be interested in this house, blah blah blah, and mass send it out to everybody, if that makes sense. When the emails are sent out, does it say it's coming from our email address? I thought I saw something in manually sending a potential client, right? The option of checking something off about an email address. Okay, so in your profile, this is your email. This is your from email. If you don't like your email that you have and you want a different email to come from, you can do this. I do not recommend doing it because we have to mask it. And when you mask it, then what happens is it's a lot of times seen as spam. So I would make your email the one you use. And the other thing I would do is right up here where it says connect your Gmail or your Outlook, be sure to do this. So this, although this is insiderealestate.com, it's a Gmail email. It doesn't have to say gmail.com because I have a Google business email account, which you probably do too. A lot of people do. Then you can hook up your Gmail to it. If you do this, two things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen is that all your things not going to go to junk mail as much anymore, because if you don't give us permission, if you don't connect it, even if this says this is the email, you still have to send it through a relay masked because we don't have permission to use your Gmail. But if you connect your Gmail up here and that's giving us permission to actually use your actual Gmail account, and that will be seen not as spam 90% of the time, whereas before it's like almost 100% of the time it is seen as spam. That's the first thing. The second thing that happens is any correspondence between your leads and you that you do through your email account will populate in the timeline for that lead. So even if the lead emails you and you get it in your email and you email them back, you don't have to do it through the system. It'll just automatically pull in to their timeline for you. And you'll see that email correspondence in their timeline. So this is like a number one thing to do when you're setting up yourselves. Always make sure that you're connected to either your Gmail or Outlook, one of the two. Okay. I think I answered that. If I didn't, let me know. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, cool, guys. Well, I will close it down. Be sure to visit us next week. And anytime you want to come to these again, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, always good nuggets of information. The last thing I will do is I will stick this playlist in the chat, which is all of our old, oh, I do this every time. No. Full playlist. Stop. Fine. Do it again. Playlists. All of our past. Full playlist. Here. All of our past meetups for you. There's so much good stuff in here, you guys. Have a look. You can also search it up, search what you like, but gosh, there's so much stuff in here. Definitely want to have a look see. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. It was great to see everybody here, and we will see you next week or tomorrow at the next meetup with the other trainers. Okay, bye everybody.